Today, Group 1 will be discussing Edgar Dale's Cone of Experience. At the end of this lesson, the students will be able to do the following. So the lesson will provide the background information of the topic, the 11 stages, how the cone of experience is used in education, and lastly, the conclusion.
I have a quote for you. Education is a lifelong process which we get through learning, either intentional and unintentional, from experiences. And experience leads to learning, and learning in turn leads to education. Good day, everyone. We will be presenting how Edgar Dale's cone of experience and the 11 stages or strata are used in the teaching learning process.
Alright, now before we talk about Edgar Dale's cone of experience, let me tell you a little background about Edgar Dale. Now, Edgar Dale was a US educationist who developed the world-famous cone of experience. Now, he was a professor of education at a university that made several contributions to audio and visual instruction, including a methodology for analyzing the content of motion pictures. Now, he was an expert in audiovisual education. He created the model in his 1946 book entitled Audiovisual Methods in Teaching that he named the Cone of Experience to discuss various modalities or channels of imparting information. Now, let's ask this. Now, you guys are probably wondering, what is Dale's Cone of Experience? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it is a model that incorporates several theories related to instructional design and learning processes. Now, this cone of experience is a pictorial device used to explain the interrelationships of the various types of audio-visual media, as well as the individual positions in the learning process. Okay? Now, it is composed of 11 stages, starting from the bottom, which is the concrete experiences. Then it becomes more and more abstract as it goes along the way, as it reaches the peak of the cone. Now, the experiences in each stage can be mixed and are interrelated, that fosters more meaningful learning. Now, we should try to go deeper in each of the components. Now, since educational technology basically revolves all around the cone of experience, okay? Now, by going one by one, starting from the concrete to abstract, we will further understand more about the different components of the cone that will help us in grasping the real meaning of educational technology.
So, good afternoon, classmate. Good afternoon, teacher. And today I will be talking about verbal symbol. So, first, what is verbal symbols? Verbal symbols are only symbolic representations, but they can still be quite powerful and flexible. So, as we use language, we are expressing our thoughts and creating our own thoughts, even deciding what is worth thinking about. So, verbal symbols shows meaning or emotion through writing or spoken words. So, yes, so you can use this in classroom practices. In verbal symbols refers to sending or receiving a message through sounds and languages. Teachers can address one of the student or the whole class through verbal communication. For example, a teacher may ask a student to stand up, which is a verbal symbol. So, digital technology integration, maximizing the use of overhead projector and a chalkboard. So, what is opaque projector? Opaque is a projector using reflected light for projecting an image of an opaque object or a matter on an opaque support. So what is chalkboard? So the chalkboard is like the one the teachers used to write something like what they are going to teach you, like that. So yes, that's all.
Hi, good day. Today I will discuss two stratas from Edgar's Dale Cone of Experience. First up is the visual symbols. So visual symbols are representations of direct reality, which comes in the forms of signs and symbols. Example of this include charts, maps, graphs, and diagrams. which provide highly abstract experiences in connection with the level of cognitive experience. Other examples include drawings, posters, and cartoons. Below are some examples of these strata. Next up is visual symbols in classroom practices. The use of visual symbols such as drawings, posters, and cartoons to illustrate or model an experience, idea, or any other visual representation in line with the topic of discussion. Teacher instruction as well as student activities that use graphs, charts, maps, or diagrams to connect, relate, compare, and contrast concepts, ideas, and information. Visual symbols are also an avenue in classroom teaching by helping students see an idea, event, or process. Next is visual symbols in digital technology integration. Digital software like Microsoft Office and other online resources can be utilized to create visual symbols such as graphs and flowcharts. Digital equipment such as projectors, laptops, and other electronic devices or even online software serve as platform to deliver or show these visual symbols to learners. The next strata is radio recordings and still pictures. These strata are visual and auditory devices that can be used by learner or group of learners that can enhance and extend their learning experience. Also, this provides pictorial and auditory experiences. For visual and auditory dimension, it represents unisensory media that we can all experience. Example of this includes magazine, listening to old radio broadcasts, and music streaming. Below are the example of this strata. Now, in classroom practices, teacher lecture or group discussion are involved by the use of radio recordings for information gathering, story analysis, and listening development. The use of pictures are also employed to further a concept or idea. Other thing, student activities centered on aiding them in understanding the lesson with recordings, radio, and still pictures provided by the teacher to assist his or her instruction. Next up is digital technology integration of the strata. The use of digital audio in teaching and learning such as podcasts, education, pre-recorded audio lectures, and other audio learning resources like Discord, which we also use in one of our classes. Next is digital pictures can provide visual stimulation that we can get from television, social media, or smartphones, or other existing softwares. This assists learners in transferring ideas into more realistic forms.
Hi there, so next is we're going to discuss about motion pictures. Motion pictures is also known as the television level. It conveys messages or information through televisions, documentaries, films, movies, and etc. It includes animations and videos that present on-screen abstraction of real-life processes and events. Now, motion pictures can be applied in the classroom practices in 3 ways. So number 1 is that it can help eliminate the unnecessary materials and focus upon only selected points or important details. Number 2 is that teachers can give students the visual, moving experience that enables them to be creative in their imagination and hopefully relate it to their personal experiences as well. Now, number 3 is that students can observe and make evaluation from what is shown to them. So for the digital technology integration of motion pictures, example of that is the use of video sharing platforms such as YouTube or Dailymotion and etc. And the next is also the utilization of projectors to project these moving images for the students to watch that is conducive for their learning or that is helpful for them in their study.
So good afternoon teacher and good afternoon classmates. So today I will be talking about educational television. So what is educational television? It's the use of television programs in the field of distance education. It may be in the form of individual television programs or dedicated specialty channels that is often associated with cable television in the United States as public, educational, and government access. So, many children television series are educational, ranging from dedicated learning programs to those that they indirectly teach the viewers. Some series are written to have a specific moral behind every episode, so often explained at the end by the character that learned the lesson. So, classroom practices. When the teacher uses educational television program during class, the relationship is between them and their teacher and their students changes. So, educators can set specific goals or activities for students in the small groups, which allows them to explore their own question and share their ideas on the given topic with their classmates. So, digital technology integration. Educators use TV in the classroom to satisfy a variety of objectives to reinforce and to expand in content being taught, to respond to a variety of learning styles, and to increase student motivation to learn. So, digital technology integration can use of smartphones, television, laptop, and computers.
The next one is we are going to learn about exhibits. Now, when you hear the word exhibits, the word concrete comes into your mind, like this pen right here. This is a concrete object. Now, exhibits are experiences that are for your eyes only, but some exhibits include sensory experiences which could be related to direct purposeful experiences. Now, meanings and ideas are presented to the learners in a more abstract manner. And so, exhibits can include models, dioramas, displays, charts, and etc. Now, for its classroom practices, exhibits are applied to classroom practices in such a way that teachers can show students visual representations or concrete examples of an idea or an image conveyed to them. And also, displays help students in their learning because this helps them concretize an idea or thought. And so the last is it allows students to create meaning and connection to through concrete objects to create relevance or connections. Now, for its digital technology integrations, since we are progressing to the new age, or since we are 21st century learners, exhibits can be shown in for example 3D or the three-dimensional printing. It is a process in which a digital file can be made into a three-dimensional solid object. Also, exhibits can also be shown through presentation technologies such as digital projectors that projects images and exhibits.
What is study trip? The purpose of the trip is usually observation for educational and non-experimental research, or to provide students with experience outside their everyday activities, such as going camping and teachers and their classmates. The aim of this research is to observe the subject in its natural state and possibly collect samples. It is seen that more advantaged children may have already experienced cultural intuition outside of the school, and the field trips provide a common ground with more advantage and less advantage children to have some of the same cultural experience in the arts.
So, what are some classroom processes or practices where we can apply this stage? So, study trips can be recreational and educational. So, recreational refers to those activities that are done outdoors, in the nature, or somewhere not confined to our homes or houses. So, study trips can be done inside the school, where you explore around the school for the purpose of learning or education, or it can be done outside the institution. So, how can we apply digital technology in this stage? So, when we do study trips, or when we conduct study trips, so we use smartphones, cameras, pocket Wi-Fi's, power banks, and laptops in order to aid our learning.
Okay, hey everyone. For today's discussion, I will talk about what is demonstration. So, demonstration is a visual explanation of an important fact, idea, or process through use of pictures, drawings, film, and other types of media in order to facilitate clear and efficient learning. In this learning, things are shown based on how they are done. Demonstration is also the act of showing or making evident or circumstance of proving or being proved conclusively as by reasoning. It may be a description or explanation of a process and illustrated by examples, specimens, and it also includes the act of exhibiting the operation or use of a device, machine, process, and product. So the classroom practices for demonstration is teachers will use demonstration to demonstrate to demonstrate the class and observe the process so that they can follow on with the topic. It is also showing examples, descriptions, and illustrations of a process. As for digital technology integration, there are demonstration uses instructional materials, illustration board, individual PowerPoint presentation, and group presentation, which encourage students to demonstrate a discussion.
So, in dramatized experiences, in this level, learners can participate in reconstructed experience that could give them better understanding of the event or of a concept. Can be used to simplify an idea to its important parts. Can range from the formal plays, pageants to less formal tableau, pantomime, puppets, and role-playing. It divided into two categories, the acting and observing. This acting, the actual participation, which is more concrete, while observing is the watching a dramatizing takes place and it is more abstract. The class practices of dramatized experiences, teachers will use this for learners to become more familiar with the concept as they immerse themselves to the as-if situations. Provide the student with a psychological and balanced support in their interpersonal relationship. Will serve teachers as well in promoting collaborative and participatory work, done by describing a situation which would create different viewpoints on an issue, and then asking the students to play the roles of the individuals involved. The digital technology integration of dramatized experiences is marionettes, flexible, jointed puppets operated by strings or wires attached to a crossbar and maneuvered from directly. Also, the flat black silhouette made from lightweight cardboard and shown behind the screen. See the example below. So in Contrived experiences, editing of reality, edited copies of reality and are used as a substitute for real things when it is not practical or not possible to bring or do real things in a classroom. It provides more concrete experiences, even if it is not concrete as direct experiences, that allows visualization and that fosters better understanding of the concept. Models, mock-up atoms, planetariums, specimens, and objects, simulations, games are examples of contrived experiences. So the classroom practices of contrived experiences. The use of models, mock-up, specimens, and objects is to overcome limitation of space and time. Teachers also use games to serve as a summative or summation and review, and to develop new relationship among concepts and principles. Digital technology integration of contrived experiences, the program materials, computers, flat pictures, slides, transparencies, maps, charts, cartoons, posters, models, mock-ups, flannel board materials, and the like. So the planetarium as a mock-up may be simplified in order to emphasize a certain features. It may be an economical reproduction of a complicated or costly device to be observed for learning purposes. These are the examples of contrived experiences. We have models, game, specimen, planetarium, and simulation.
So I will now be discussing the last stage or strata in Edgar Dale's cone of experience. So these are direct purposeful experiences. So these are first-hand experiences which serve as the foundation of learning. So these are the rich experiences that our senses bring, from which we construct the ideas, the concepts, the generalizations that give meaning and order to our lives. So in this level, more senses are used, not just our sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of touch, but also the sense of perception, so on and so forth, in order to build up the knowledge. Also at this level, the learner learns by doing things by himself or herself. So learning happens through actual hands-on experiences. So the more sensory channels possible in interacting with a specific or particular resource, the better the chance that many students can learn from it. So if I would simplify this stage, direct or purposeful experiences are experiences of life, and we get it by living. So what are some classroom processes or practices where we apply this stage? So first, we can teach others. So everything that we have learned from our lessons, from our courses, and also some theories will be applied in reality. So we can inform others not just through teaching, but also advocating, campaigning, and other informative mediums. So we can also do experimentation. So as we learn many concepts and theories, we can perform an experiment to test their effectiveness. So we can also do design. So design is not just limited to the field of arts like painting, sketching, or it can also include architecture and other fields of study. So these are we can use this immediately, for these are first-hand experiences. So we apply our learnings in the real world to serve a purpose. So what are some examples of direct purposeful activities? So these can be preparing a meal or snacks, making a piece of furniture, performing a laboratory experiment, or delivering a speech. So how can we integrate digital technology in this stage? So all of our classroom processes and practices mentioned can also be done or can also be performed in the virtual or digital world through the use of gamification. So by having a digital game-based learning, learners can easily and conveniently test their skills to be applied in the society. So how can Edgar Dale's cone of experience be utilized in education? So Dale's cone of experience provides teaching and learning models that allows teachers to understand how to increase the retention rate of learners by involving the learners. So the several styles, stages, or strata help awaken the sensory organs of each learner and help him or her achieve self-education. So as I have mentioned earlier, the more senses that are involved in learning, the more and better the learning will be. So the experiences in each stage can be mixed and are interrelated. Thus, a balance must be achieved between concrete and abstract experiences in order to cater and address all the needs or the information needs of the learner in all the domains of development, and in order to help each learner in their holistic development. So when we talk about holistic development, it doesn't just talk about the learner's physical well-being, but also talks about their mental, psychological, and spiritual well-being. So in facilitating learning, we can use a variety of materials and mediums in order to maximize the learning experience. So there's nothing wrong with trying to combine several mediums for as long as it could benefit the learners. So it guides the teachers or facilitators to adapt the right mode of learning practices. Through understanding each component, stage, or strata of the cone of experience, it could be said that educational technology is not limited to the modern gadgets that we have right now, but rather it is a broad concept that includes all the media that we can use to attain balance as we facilitate effective and meaningful learning.
All right, now for the conclusion. Now, in Dale's perspective, most students in schools did not learn how to think, discover, and solve real life problems. Rather, students were forced to memorize facts and knowledge in most schools, and as you probably guessed it, as a result, any knowledge they acquired was inert in their real lives. Now, for this reason, Dale argued that we should have revolutionary approaches to improve the quality of educational learning environment. Okay? Now, he argued for the development of new materials and methods of instruction. He also promoted the potential of audiovisual materials, believing that they could provide vivid and memorable experiences and extend them regardless of the limitations of time and space. He also believed that the audiovisual materials could help the students learn from others' firsthand experience. Now, he concluded that the audiovisual materials could provide a concrete basis for learning concepts, heightening students' motivation, encourage active participation, and the list goes on. Now, to conclude, Dale's cone of experience has practical applications in a classroom setting. It provides teaching and learning models that allows the teachers to understand how to increase the retention rate of their students by making the students more involved in their lesson. Now, this means that while the student participates and gets involved in the learning process by expression, they awaken their sensory organs, you guys. Now, this creates, of course, a better learning environment for the students. Thus, effective learning environments should be filled with rich and memorable experience where the students can utilize their sense of hearing, their sense of sight, and their taste, touch, and try, and all other things. Now, students will be immersed in it, okay, by utilizing these things. Now, they could explore all the more a new experience. They also have a chance to discover a new awareness of them. They could also have emotionally rewarding experiences that will further motivate them for learning all throughout their lives. Now, students have chances to practice their past experiences and combine them to create new ones. Now, students have a sense of personal achievement, and students can also develop their own dynamic experiences.
As what I've said in the beginning, education is truly a lifelong process involving all of our senses. I hope all of you will be able to apply Edgar Dale's cone of experience not just as a learner, but also as future educators. Thank you for listening.